There we go. Is that all okay? Everyone see that okay? Perfect. So my name's Glyn. I'm CEO and co-founder of Watr, the Smart Water Monitor. And our mission is to use technology to improve water conditions across the globe. 71% of the world's surface is covered in water, but only 1% of it is accessible for drinking water. Water is more important than oil and data, and the president of Egypt has said if we go to war again, it will be over water. We're a group of technologists who are really passionate about environmental sustainability. And over the last 3 years, we've built a solution to help water quality across the globe. The idea for Watr actually came from a personal experience. So I'm a keen fisherman. I was fishing at a friend's lake. He was telling me about a problem that he'd had with water quality in the previous year. He'd gone on holiday, and whilst on holiday, he had a call from the landowner saying a lot of the fish were coming up, gasping for air. He rushed back from holiday, got the first flight back, had to call the fire brigade out. They sprayed the lake with water to re-oxygenate it, but he lost about £250,000 worth of stock and revenue. And it was due to an avoidable algae bloom, caused an oxygen crash, and then led to that loss. So kind of went away, built him a proof of concept to be able to measure in live time, and he tested it at his lake, and he really loved it. So we took it to Web Summit in Portugal and thought, let's get it in front of as many people as possible, and ended up getting through to the pitch final and pitching it on the main stage in front of 20,000 people, which was absolutely terrifying, but it did gain us a lot of interest, and we had a lot of inquiries from lots of different industries. And it was at that point we realized that this is a much bigger problem than just fisheries and fish farms. So water is obviously the most valuable resource on the planet. We all need it for survival. And here's a few stats that kind of really hit home to us. So the Environment Agency released a report last year saying that the UK rivers, not a single one of them met water quality standards. So all the rivers that we go in the summer, not one of them meet the standards for bathing water quality. So and then worldwide, 1 million people die each year from water, sanitation, and hygiene-related diseases. And that's every 2 minutes a child dies from water-related disease. So those kind of stats have kind of stuck with us, and we wanted to do something to basically make a difference. These problems come from a number of different areas, but it's a kind of overall solution that's needed to kind of bring that water quality up. So with regards to the market, one of our main focuses is water charities. So drinking water charities, being able to make a difference to lives, it is really key to our company mission. Where we're focused currently is UK water companies, which seems a whole way away from drinking water charities in third world countries. But the reason we targeted that is because we wanted to run pilots. The level of due diligence from these water companies is insane. So we thought if we can get these pilots out with the water companies, it gives us a really good use case to then to push it out globally. Other markets, so European fisheries, agriculture, aquaculture, fashion, manufacturers, breweries, and then open it up to worldwide and US utilities. And the market's huge. It's a kind of a global problem, and it's very kind of apt right now. Estimated target market is well over £4 billion. So yeah, you can kind of see the scale of the problem and what people are currently doing to try and solve it. So we wanted to build the most advanced and low-cost solution in the world. And that would include a live dashboard where data could be viewed 24/7, easy deployment, which means it could be deployed by anyone, anywhere, because that's kind of one of the big kind of stumbling blocks currently. The data was accurate, and it would reduce manpower costs, which then has a reduced effect on the environment. So rather than having people going out in vans taking water samples, actually these can be in situ and measuring constantly. And this is the device that we created. So it comes in two halves. The top half has all of our data, solar, battery, and floats on the surface of the water. The bottom half has all of our sensing equipment, our probes and sensors, and can be lowered down to different depths in the water to measure water quality at different depths. It's completely designed and built in-house. We outsource some of the production, like the actual housings and the solar panels, but we do all of our kind of build and assembly here in Norwich. We've got a number of different communication methods built in so that we can get data back to our server from anywhere in the world. And one of our key points is that we can from opening the box, 2 minutes, you can be receiving data. We can measure a huge amount of different parameters, and these parameters vary depending on the use case. So you can imagine drinking water, they'll want to measure different parameters to, say, a fishery. So we built the system to be modular so that we can literally plug in different sensors, the system picks it up, chuck it in the water, and we start getting data. So it's simple as possible. And once it's in the water, the data goes back up to our server and then can be viewed on either our mobile app on Android and iOS or on our web dashboard. So the mobile app is got the notifications. You can set up alerts for when water quality parameters go over or under certain limits. And then the dashboard on the web is more for a kind of deep dive into that data. So like I said, we're working with UK water companies. We've got a live pilot with Glyn Water, and that's measuring water quality in all the rivers around us, really, Norfolk and Suffolk. We've got sensing devices in a lot of those rivers. We've also submitted an Ofwat Innovation Fund grant with Northumbrian and Wessex Water. And we've also got a trial running in Wales at the Hyatt Denham factory, where we're kind of understanding the factory impact in the local rivers there. We've got patents granted in Hong Kong and EU and pending in UK, USA and worldwide. And there's some other people doing kind of similar things out there. We've done a kind of in-depth competitor analysis, but no one's doing what we're doing. So we've kind of found a gap in the market. And looking at these competitors, two of them, Lobelium and Xylem, they do kind of in situ monitoring, but it's really, really top end. It's really expensive, kind of £20,000, 10 to £20,000, which is about 10 to 20 times more expensive than what we do. And then EVOS and Atlas, they build sensors, but they don't do any in situ monitoring. So we've kind of found a bit of a gap there. And then we've got some future developments that we're kind of building as well. So a smart buoy, which is exactly the same technology, but in a buoy so that it can be deployed in the ocean. And we can use it for fish farms, salmon farms, things like that. An automatic roving device that will kind of move around a still water and then use AI to kind of revisit problem areas, and auto deployment of the bottom unit. So currently we manually set that depth, but actually being able to winch it down to different depths and measure water quality at different depths. And here's our kind of our revenue model. So year one last year was when we sold our first units. We sold our 15 units to Glyn Water. This year we're well on track to sell over 250,000 units. And then we've got a kind of aggressive growth period to sell 2,500 units next year, and then doubling that in year 4 to 5,000 units. And our current revenue streams are, we have a yearly unit lease, and then we charge a monthly subscription, and we also charge for site surveys and installs. We currently have a live funding round on Cedars. It was part of the Future Fund convertible note, and we have gone past our target. So our target was £250,000. We've gone over it by about £75,000. We're still kind of pushing a lot of people to the platform and kind of trying to build up that investment as much as possible. And a big part of that is our sustainability mission. So we put a rewards package together for our investors to plant trees and donate units to third world countries based on investment. And so far the campaign has gained over 100,000 tree plants. So we'll be planting over 100,000 trees in various different locations as kind of rewards for investment. And a bit of background. So 2018 is when we did our accelerator program. We did a Hong Kong-based accelerator. Early 2020, we did a local angel round where we raised £300,000. And then we've got our current Cedars round, which we're currently at £324,000, which will be using the funds for sales and marketing, hire of some key additional roles, manufacturing of the next batch of units, and ramping up production. We've also got a CIS and EIS allowance remaining, so we'll be looking to do a fundraise again probably later this year. Exit timeframes, we're looking at about 5 to 7 years, and we're in conversations already with some companies looking at potential strategies, and we'll kind of keep our eye on that and really kind of look into it in depth when we reach 10 million turnover. So our ambition is for Watr to become the early warning system for water quality globally, and to have units in every country in the world by 2024. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you, Glyn. Perfectly on 10 minutes or just under. So next is Rob. Hello, Rob. Rob's going to be brave and he's pitching without a deck.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Do I just leave the screen like that? I guess, yeah.
Yeah, just leave it like that. Cool.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm here just to explain a little bit about our vision for Seafolk. So we're at a very different stage of our journey from the presentation that you've just seen. So just to introduce myself, my name's Rob. I founded a social enterprise called Inspired Youth about 10 years ago. And we used to work with careers aspirations and working with disadvantaged young people in Norfolk. And that's how I learned about social enterprise and the sort of pitfalls and advantages of those kind of organizations. So that work finished in 2019 and I decided to take a break from doing that work, but I got approached by some charities to run, to apply for some funding. So I used my knowledge and experience to help these UK charities. And as I started to spend time with them, I realized that actually there were some gaps in their knowledge that I could help them even more, become more effective and more efficient with their resources. And so about a year ago, Be Inspired was created, and we started to just help social enterprises all around the UK be more efficient, generate income, and help their communities. And then obviously the pandemic came along in March and it just fundamentally changed the lives for a lot of people, but especially for these social entrepreneurs. So with public sector services kind of pulling back to emergency services, these social entrepreneurs were thrust into the front line of helping their communities with things like food bank and outreach and supporting the vulnerable and shielded. And they're mobilizing volunteers and doing amazing work with, in some cases, very little knowledge about how to go about it and without really sufficient funding to run their operations. And so we found ourselves becoming a focal point for these organizations and entrepreneurs to come to. And I got to September and we were basically working with nearly 20 clients, and we're writing 10 to 15 funding applications a week. And I'm starting to realize that actually this situation probably isn't going to change. And we're in a situation that's probably not sustainable to keep growing. The other thing is that I noticed that actually there was huge potential for these social entrepreneurs to work together and to collaborate and support each other, but there wasn't really a drive to peer network support. It was very locally focused, but if you were a charity up north and working on something very similar to a charity in London, for example, it's very difficult for you to network and meet and start supporting one another. And really, it was my thoughts from working with Inspired Youth and working with the tech scene in Norfolk that kind of triggered some ideas of what we could do to scale. So when we were working with Inspired Youth, we were working with lots of different tech companies at careers events. And reflecting, last summer, I realized that actually there's a lot of similarity between tech companies and these social entrepreneurs that I'm working with. So a lot of you guys are micro businesses, your SME businesses, you're quite small and you move quite quickly. You like to solve problems with innovative solutions like the one that we've just seen. But the other thing is you like to work collaboratively, and there's a lot of support and a lot of peer support. But the big thing that struck me was that actually I know all of you use tools, digital tools to do all those great things, but actually to become more effective and push yourself and the solutions that you're coming up with. And that's the kind of gaps that I started to see with these social entrepreneurs that I was working with. So Seafolk basically longer term will be a platform that these social entrepreneurs can go on and start accessing tools to help them collaborate, to chat, to meet experts, to brainstorm and start developing new solutions to the challenges that they're finding in their community. But that's up the road and we're not there at the moment. So we're in a research stage where we're basically trying to understand what technologies do all of you guys use at the moment that we could very easily start to stitch together through some kind of simple WordPress website, and try and enable these social entrepreneurs right across the UK to come together and work and solve these challenges and share best practice. You know, a year ago, people didn't really know how to run a volunteer scheme with a COVID and how to protect volunteers and support vulnerable people. Now there's some charities that have been doing that for nearly a year. So how can we give that knowledge to other social entrepreneurs that are maybe just starting out? So in terms of the number, there's around 100,000 social entrepreneurs registered with Companies House, and there's about 150,000 micro charities. So that's one or two people with their income of less than 10,000. So we're looking at 250,000 different organizations just in the UK. But the opportunity is much bigger than that, because the platform and the knowledge and the peer support can be international. So there's no reason why we couldn't join up social entrepreneurs in the Americas, in the African continent, Middle East, Asia, and Australia. And if they're working on certain social challenges, then we could bring them together and start moving that knowledge around really, really quickly. In terms of where we are right now, we have a small client base. We're starting to launch some networking and getting these people to talk and share best practice. And so, you know, we've got a long way to go, but, you know, that's where we are at the moment. In terms of a business model, obviously we have to fund ourselves. So we're not about making profits, but we still need to fund ourselves. So we can access public sector grants and social funding from the lottery, for example. And our plan is to create revenue streams from the members. So it's a low cost entry for these social entrepreneurs to come in. But we want to create a credit system. So basically like in-platform purchases, where if there's services that they need or would like to access, they can buy those when they need it, rather than getting offered a package of support that actually there's a lot of stuff that's not particularly relevant to them. And we can also generate revenues through sponsorship and affiliate associations, people selling their services to this group. So we've got opportunities to create multiple income streams, and that will allow us to scale up as we go. So in terms of alternatives, yes, there are lots of organizations that offer business advice and support, but most of them are targeted towards private organizations and for-profit. And these people are working in a very different way. They have different outcomes, different stakeholders, and quite often that advice in terms of, you know, grow your top line, grow your bottom line, drive sales, blah, 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 is just not relevant for them. And so it's really focusing on how do they effectively deliver their services and make change in their communities. So that's one challenge. The other challenge is a lot of advice that's available now for social organizations is still in pre-pandemic, you know, ways of delivering. So basically you become part of an intake cohort, and you and other social entrepreneurs go through some kind of program to teach you how to be a social entrepreneur. And so previously you would have had to have traveled to a center and maybe, you know, stayed overnight. Lots of barriers to people that are trying to run a social organization. And basically they've now moved that online, so it's digital. So there isn't space to collaborate. There isn't space to kind of chew the fat and solve ideas and come together. And there's no way you can network with people, you know, potentially all over the world. So it's that complete thing that we're trying to address and create that sort of structure where they can grow and be successful together. So I guess to bring things to a close, we're at a very different point to the presentation you've just seen. But what I do know is you guys are using tools day in, day out to create your products and your services and help your customers. And so my call to action to you guys is, if you've listened to what I've said and you could picture what it would like to be a social entrepreneur and be able to go to somewhere and connect and collaborate with other people around the world, what tools should I be looking at? What off-the-shelf apps are out there that I could use now? And so find me, connect with me, send me a message. Just very simply, Rob, have you thought about this? And that would be fantastic. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, I can see the problem there. You know, all tools and processes and communities are really like startup incubators are set up for growth, revenue, and maybe not, you know, tuned into like social enterprises and making change. So I can see the problem there. So next up, Juliana. We haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing good. Juliana's
Hi.
a stranger to SyncNorwich. What have you been up to?
Well, we've been extremely busy. Yes, suddenly the whole world wanted to go digital. So super fast, we've been very busy. And here today, I'm going to talk about a project. It's not really a startup. It's more of a community project. So we've come together with various leaders in the region to really think about, well, under the circumstances, how can we really help each other? How can we really support local businesses and local people, particularly those that maybe are out of a job at the moment? How can we connect people? And it's a number of leaders involved. People like Ali Claiborne from LiftShare are involved. MP George Freeman is involved. Libby, who's on the call from Enterprise Festival, has been doing a lot of the legwork for it. So everyone give Libby a wave. So really, we've all come together to think about what can we do, and this is really the beginning of the project. And the idea is that it's called Business Booster, and it's really an interactive business directory with a difference. So instead of just listing all the companies in Norfolk, we decided let's make it really interactive. So the first problem is there's tens of thousands of businesses in Norfolk and Suffolk, but we don't necessarily even know about them. Quite often we're finding out about, I think Tech East 100 was really interesting because there was loads of business on that. I thought, wow, I didn't even know that they were based in the region. So we thought, well, let's at least bring exposure to who is in the region, then give us all an opportunity to really talk about a business, but in a more human way. So instead of just like a listing on Google Maps where there's no personality involved, actually get a video from each business where you actually meet who's involved and why they're doing it and what it can do for you. And then the really important factor that we wanted to include was that each business is not just about listing what they do, but it's about saying, this is what we can do to help. So that was a really important aspect of it. And then another interactive aspect is that people can then also write comments on each business. They can talk to each other. They can maybe post if they are looking for something in particular. We're going to have discussion areas. So really it's about creating a space where businesses can showcase themselves and come together. And that offer of support, I think, is a really important one. So for example, at Superpass, we've put together a way that anyone who's currently unemployed can actually use our product completely for free. So we make out-the-box website and mobile app software. So anyone who wants to start a content business or has a content business but wants to put it somewhere awesome, they can actually use our software for free if they're unemployed, and that's part of what we're offering to local individuals or businesses within Norfolk and Suffolk. But there's loads of examples of what people can do. So I guess the three main goals that we want to do is, one, give exposure to the businesses locally. Two is offer support. So, you know, what can your business offer others, whether that's individuals or collaborations with other businesses? And then the third one is more of a long-term goal, and that's really to deepen local collaboration towards a zero carbon future. So we're not just looking at what we can do now to really help each other through the pandemic and lockdowns, but also what about 10 years from now? Where could this actually go to really create that hub for the local community? So that's kind of what it is. I wanted to sort of explain how we've made it. So I'm CEO and founder of Superpass. We're a local tech company. And as I mentioned, we make pre-built website and mobile apps for businesses with content. So that might be video content, audio content, articles and blogs. And you can have an out-the-box website that looks and feels like Netflix or Spotify, basically within a few minutes. And I just wanted to show you, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's just share a different place. So if I just show you the actual website, it's always nice to see things in action, I think, on these demos. So can you see my browser now?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So this is the actual website. At the moment, it's really very much a call to action to actually register your business. So if you go to businessbooster.app, you literally click the button and it takes you to a form, which it takes 2 minutes to sign up your business. And then if I go into the video section, you can see we've got a few videos up so far. We're really looking to get 100 videos before we actually release the beta of the app, but you can see there's already a number of businesses that are up there registered. And if I click through, you can see that here we've got Funnel Clark, a really nice video there. And as you scroll down, you can watch the video. So it's really nice interactivity. And as well, there'll be comments at the bottom. And I'm going to share one more thing as well, which is the actual app itself. So again, I really love live demos. So here is my phone. I'm just going to go on to that. So here's the Business Booster app. If I go into the section, you can see it's very much like that kind of Netflix layout, that really intuitive look and feel. And then if we go into one of the videos, actually, let's go back into the same one we've just seen. You can see that there you've got showcasing that particular business. You've got the video, you can read all about them. And then, as I say, there'll be comments at the bottom, and there'll also be a discussion area if people do want to offer their support in various different ways. So yeah, so trying to keep it nice and brief, but that's basically how it all works. And I also just wanted to show a little bit of what we've been doing at Superpass, because it's been a really interesting year. So hold on, I'm just trying to find the other deck. Hold on, there we go. Right, perfect. So it's been a really interesting year with everything that's been going on. We've really helped a lot of businesses to increase their revenue during lockdown. A lot of businesses are trying to transition online, and we've helped businesses increase their revenue up to 1,200% during the lockdowns, which, you know, for a lot of businesses, that's really been a game changer for them. And we've been really focusing on how to make it possible to launch an entire paywalled content website within 10 minutes. And we're doing a bunch of stuff on that at the moment, but here's one of the new features that we've built recently, which enables you to basically build a podcast app in under 60 seconds. So I'm just going to show you, this is our CMS. When you first sign up to Superpass, this is what the workflow you see. It asks you, do you have a podcast? You basically just type in the name of your podcast, it automatically finds it, and then you click import, and it's literally taking 14 seconds to import the entire podcast. So that's, you know, I think in this case, it's probably about 100 episodes, taking 14 seconds to import the entire thing. And that's literally how long it takes to get all of the content in. And then we're going to just brand it. So we're going to drop the logo in. It automatically pulled the logo. We're going to replace it with a slightly better one. Then we're going to drop a banner image in to really bring the look and feel of the app to life. We're going to choose a color to, you know, obviously make it the right kind of brand, choose light or dark theme, and that's literally it. So before we show you the preview of what we've built, I'm just going to show you in the CMS dashboard. You can see there's loads of functionality that clients can use, and we're just going to pop into the audio section to see there's the podcast. We've literally just pulled it in. This was a blank account under 1 minute ago, and there you can see all the podcast episodes have come in, and here's the app. So this is literally what was made within that 60 seconds. It's already pre-built app. It looks like Spotify. You can see all of the different episodes there. You can play them. The player is very much like a Spotify player, so everything's native within the iOS and Android apps, and you get the website as well. If you want to go into a track, you can see all the show notes and all the information about the app. You can favorite it, you can add it to, you can write comments on it. And then also just to show you a little bit of how you can really change the look and feel with just one tap. Then this is light theme. So for different brands, again, it's all the same functionality, but just really, really different because it's in light theme. So I just wanted to show you that. I think it's always nice to kind of update, for those that do know Superpass, it's nice to update you on how busy we've been. And for those that don't know, to show you the really cool tech that we're making here in Norwich. We're actually just closing another investment round tomorrow. And as I say, our team's growing, we're hiring more people. So we're hiring a marketing manager and a part-time finance manager at the moment. We've just hired 3 new people into the team in the last few weeks. So yeah, lots happening. We're really excited about how we're helping people. And in particular, we're really excited about the Business Booster app as it's not really owned by anyone. It's really owned by the community. We want it to be something that for Norfolk and Suffolk businesses, everybody can come together to really just connect and help each other. And more than just these amazing tech events that we have, this is across all businesses. So it's not just tech, it's agriculture, it's leisure, it's retail, it's any kind of business across the whole of Norfolk and Suffolk. And if we can all collaborate and start to help each other more locally, maybe we can also help with supply chains for that net zero future. So if you haven't yet signed up, I'm going to post again in the chat the form to sign up your business. It literally takes 2 minutes. If you want to replace the video later with something else, you can replace it anytime, but just sign up It takes 2 minutes. We're really looking for that first 100 businesses before we launch the beta of it. If you go to the Android app store at the moment, you can download the app, but as I say, there's only about 10 companies in there. We're waiting till we've got 100 before we launch it in both app stores, but we just popped it in there. This literally went live about 5 minutes before the presentation, just so if you have an Android phone, you can download it and have a quick look at that. But go to businessbooster.app and sign up your business. And any ideas, let us know. Let Libby and me know. So it's Libby at Norfolk Enterprise Festival and myself are heading it up, but there's a lot of other local leaders involved. We basically want people to just get involved in how we can all support each other. That's really what we want to do in these difficult times. And that's why we're doing it.
Excellent. Thanks, Juliana. Congratulations on all those new features. And yeah, Juliana is probably the most hard-working person I've known, and just doesn't stop, over like years. Cool. Really good to hear.
It's Superpass's 10th year this year. Can you
Oh,
believe it?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say 10 years.
Yeah. Well, it'll be SyncNorwich's soon too, because they both started at the same time.
Yeah, and also, Juliana actually started the origins of SyncNorwich. It was called Norwich Startups. And if you go back through our history of our meetups, the first two is actually called Norwich Startups. And I've kind of taken SyncNorwich back to its original roots now, which is startup pitches. So cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for all your amazing work.
Always. Yes. So Norwich's latest hot startup, fintech startup, is about to present. I'm really looking forward to hearing this. So Catherine and Andres from Upside Savings.
Great. Can you see my screen okay there?
All good.
Great stuff. Yeah, so we are Upside. We're an open banking app that allows for frictionless cashback and incremental sales for merchants. So a fireside story for you. So we're going to rattle through, and I want to talk to you about where the idea for Upside came from and who exactly benefits from it, the traction and success we've had so far, and then any questions at the end. So not too many slides for this next bit. I'm just going to take you through a bit of a story around how the founder Andres landed on the idea for Upside. So Andres spent his childhood in South Africa. And what you might not know is in South Africa at the time, they enjoyed 17.5% interest rates on their savings, something I don't think any of us in the UK can even imagine. But because of that, he and his sister were really encouraged by their dad to fill out their savings book every week. And Andres would get super excited every Saturday when they'd go to the bank and they'd get a printout and it would show how much he had accumulated in his savings from this incredible interest rate. So fast forward several years, Andres found himself working in the UK and completely baffled by the lack of culture of saving here. Of course, there's been such poor interest rates here. I think we've just been encouraged, especially since the 90s, to just spend, spend, spend. So he started to look at what he could do to try and encourage people to save, given that at the time, 11 million adults in the UK had fewer than £100 in savings. And just last week, we got the news that actually there are 28 million vulnerable adults in the UK, and that's classed as having fewer than £100 in savings. So they're just kind of one emergency bill away from, from dropping out of being able to afford that. So he tried to look at, how could he help people to build their savings pot? And he launched several different companies on his journey to do that, but it was really tough going. Cookie tracking meant that customers had to click out on offers and they had to install untrustworthy toolbar extensions. And it just added so many hurdles to the customers getting their discounts that it kind of seemed like the odds were stacked against helping users to genuinely save. So one night he found an incredible piece of insight whilst actually reading a medical paper, which might seem a bit abstract, but hopefully it will become clear later. So he read a paper on patients who had actually died and been resuscitated. And the study focused specifically on people who were hospitalized due to poor lifestyle and unhealthy habits. As you'd expect, after the shock and the really frightening prospect of not making it out the other side, when the patients were asked, and told that they had to make these substantial lifestyle changes, they all said, yeah, they'd had the wake-up call they needed, that they were going to change. Fast forward 5 years, and only 14% of them had made any kind of change to positively impact their lifestyle and their health. And at the moment Andres read that, the penny dropped, that no wonder people can't change their habits to save money if they can't change their habit to save their life, literally. That's clearly not the rule for everybody. 14% did make the change. Something in them fundamentally shifted. However, it was enough to make Andres realize that you can't just take a horse to water and leave it to drink. You have to really help people to save. And the only way to do that is to make it as effortless as possible. Remove all the friction from saving. Don't try to force people to round up their money, generating, you know, this kind of £50 or so a year, or don't tell them to not meet their friends for dinner or a coffee. So we had to work out how to release the money from their current spending and save it for them. So Upside was born, and I spoke to Andres, I think around about a year ago. I have a background in affiliate marketing, and I know the problems that there are with affiliate marketing. So for me, open banking, going to the source of truth made so much sense. And I've got a short video to show you, which will hopefully explain exactly how Upside works.
There are 11.5 million people in the UK with less than £100 savings. Upside is here to help them grow their savings accounts. We find the money effortlessly to help them overcome the inertia they have around saving. Current saving solutions are full of friction. Many codes, discounts and loyalty apps don't work and waste people's valuable time. Redeeming codes and offers can be difficult, with lots of small print and terms and conditions. Using them can even be embarrassing in some situations, which means savings are missed. Cashback sites often take up to a year to pay out, and many promo codes are just cookie-dropping mechanisms, offering no real benefit to the customer. Upside's first flagship service is Auto Cashback, automatically giving customers cashback when they shop at their favourite brands. Consumers connect their existing bank account to the Upside app via open banking and earn savings as they shop that go straight into their savings account, all within 24 hours of making the purchase.
Getting started with Upside is easy. Simply download the app, connect your account, and we'll find you effortless cashback. When you sign up, just simply put in your name, last name and your date of birth. We need to do this to make sure that you're over 18, and then you'll get a verification email. And whenever you come to the app, we'll ask you to sign in either with a secure 6-digit PIN or with Face ID. Then you link your bank accounts. We do this using Plaid, which is completely FCA regulated and authorised. We'll go off to your bank and ask them for access. And we've got over 70 banks connected. So we're giving Revolut as the example here, but there are many more that you can connect. You can connect all of your accounts and your cards so that we don't miss any cash back. And we'll actually give you an estimate on how much we think we're going to be able to save you. So the more you connect, the more you can save. And so once we're all connected, all you have to do is shop. We don't ask you to come in, activate an offer, click out to activate anything, or install any toolbars on your desktop. And you can see here all of the different partners that we have on and the offers that you can save. So simply spend and save.
No more time-consuming coupons and broken offers, just instant cashback. With Upside saving money in the background, you can confidently spend knowing you're not missing out. No more waiting. Automated instant savings, effortlessly.
Please join us on this mission to make saving effortless.
I was going to say, I know it's going to start playing again. So I will pass over to Andres now to talk to you about some of the traction and success that we've had so far.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And thank you, Catherine, for that little bits. Always embarrassing hearing your own life story, but always good to remember on that. So apologies, I'm just sharing my screen here. 1 second.
It's also horrible having to listen to your own voice on a recording.
Absolutely. So, guys, one of the interesting things, as Catherine said, when I came to the UK, and subsequently I've spent time in Canada and Hong Kong and Singapore, living and working in those countries, but I observed the same, behavior in what was always taught to me as the first world. I come from a third world country, and so we were trained and educated. But I was intrigued because the model seems to be show people as much stuff as possibly from people they don't know to get them to buy that stuff with the money that they don't have. And that was a common theme constantly. And then I kept reading in the news that people talk about, the dire states in which personal money is, and why taxes need to be high so that governments can pay for people to retire and provide them with medical. So that was such a stark experience for me that I just felt there had to be more opportunity and a different way to do it, especially when you look at the consequences. Catherine already mentioned about the financial vulnerability in the UK, but not just that. If you understand that 98% of digital marketing is ignored, 98% of your Facebook feed or your email spam you just delete or skip past. Boy, is that a waste of human attention and money in the system. And then at the same time, you have retailers that sit there and say, well, this is literally a quote from a CMO who spoke to us and said, half their marketing budget is useless, but they just don't know which half. So when we looked at that together, we figured that, look, there must be a better way here, right? Is there a way in which we can connect the consumers and the retailers directly with one another and push the money straight into the consumers' bank accounts or savings accounts? Catherine talked about the little ATM experience I had, but that sort of endorphin reinforcement model meant that I had, a behavior of saving embedded into me from a very early stage. Why can we not do the same? Every time you shop at that brand that really cares about you as their customer, you get a push notification that says, thank you for shopping at our store. We've just put money straight into your savings account. And in doing so, you create this reinforcement model where true loyalty, not fake bought, spammed loyalty, but true loyalty has a chance of being reborn yet again. So as Catherine said, we've been very blessed and fortunate over the last 12 months. We raised 1.2 million over 2 rounds last year. We've signed 4 distribution deals, which now give us access to 4.5 million consumers by the end of this year. We've had fantastic engagement in the app. The traction and the people signing up, despite what you saw in our little video, I'll self-confess, it's a horrendous sign-up process because we are FCA regulated. So it's like opening a bank account. We take full anti-money laundering and KYC checks, and you've got to connect your bank account. And despite that, we've had really, really fantastic feedback and sign-ups, and very, very few people that left. We've already signed up 26 retailers that are placing offers, and we're adding more every day. So I would encourage you, head over to the Apple App Store right now. If you have an Apple device, just search for Upside or Upside Saving, and you can find us there, download and have a look for yourself. Coming to Android soon, so please don't shout at me. I'm getting that feedback every day. We will get there, so do bear with us. The market as it stands, it's quite interesting because in the UK, they talk about the market being 5.1 billion. But if you take a look at the US, it's over 100 billion in the US. And that disproportionately is because the friction in the UK is so much more to get some of these deals. And that's what we want to eliminate here, as the video and as Catherine highlighted. So Catherine already mentioned, we've also got Paul as our CTO and Steve as our Chief Operating Officer. And across our funding rounds, we've been backed by people like Ground Floor Ventures, Force of Mass Capital, Staircase Digital, who the founder was the ex-CMO at Honey, the browser extension. So that's been super helpful. And we've also had investment and support from other places like Oxford Risk, which are experts in behavioral economics. So that's it in a nutshell. I'll hand it back to you, Catherine.
Great. So yeah, that wraps it all up. I've popped the link into the chat there if any of you want to click on that. And we'll always welcome feedback. It's really, we've done so many different user interviews, and actually you all probably know Tom from the user story. He helped us with that early on as well, because we just really wanted to understand how it is people save, why people can't save. And yeah, we've tried to tackle that at every turn, really. So yeah, please do let us know if you find it frictionless. I think Katie from User Story actually heard her mum scream one morning, and when she ran up to see what the problem was, her mum was like, I've got my first Upside. So these little pings and the notifications are what people really enjoy. So if you like them, screenshot them and share them with us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. But yeah, and we already said that we're looking to hire, but it'd be interesting to know if any of you have any questions for us about it too.
Cool, thank you guys. I'm just having a look at my balance there, and I have £26.61 on mine. It just happens like magic. Yes, so everyone's got their £1 million. I'm conscious that something's happening on Mars at 7:15, so people might want to go. Oh, you've already started the poll. Okay, yeah, no worries. Let's just jump straight into the poll. I normally do a bit of Q&A before that, so you can help decide on where you can spend your 1 million.
Sorry, John.
Fire away. Start poll. That's all right. Voting for your favorite pitch. Who would you invest your 1 million in? And then, yeah, we cannot actually leave that running. So while open up the floor for people to ask questions. I'm sure there's some questions out there to our startups. Come on.
No one ever wants to be the first person to speak.
Yeah, go on. We got one. James.
Yeah, for Catherine. What was the response like from the businesses you were approaching? Because there have been so many of these versions of these cashback schemes or saving schemes. What have you found it difficult to get into some of them because they might think it's just another one, or has your approach sort of made it easier?
You're right. Card linking has been across the desks of lots of people and normally run by somebody dodgy out of their spare room. But because we're not card linking, we're open banking, we're FCA regulated, I think we strike a different tone in general. I think the data that we can give to them in terms of aggregated data, so a merchant can, look at people who haven't shopped with them and have shopped with competitors in their category and target them with a different offer. We're aiming for complete personalization on that. So I think that's a different offering for them. It's not been easy, especially a lot of them are used to cookie tracking. So what we're offering, nothing like it exists already. So we have to be really careful that when they hear about us, they don't just put us in a bucket with card linking or affiliates. So yeah, it's been tough, but we've, of the merchants that we've had signed, we actually have about 5 really great merchants coming to the platform in the next month. So do keep an eye out for those. But it's more been about talking to the right person, because there's somebody who cares that every time somebody signs up on their website for a 20% offer as a new customer, they're giving away 20% of their cost of sale. And those are rubbish email addresses. Like, take it from somebody who has a database of 1.2 million email addresses. The one that people use when they sign up on an e-commerce website is not their normal email address that they use for communication with friends and family. It's probably one from university. They get a terrible click-through rate, even if it's a good open rate. They're not selling much from those emails. So it's kind of worthless metric, but unfortunately it is a metric that marketing managers are tasked with, build your email list, get people to sign up, and who as a loyal customer doesn't get annoyed at the fact that a new customer always gets 20% off. So this is really, loyalty reframed. So we want merchants to be able to see who really are their loyal customers and reward them properly.
Yeah, brilliant.
More questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna have to ask my deaf question. Come on, someone ask a question.
I'm intrigued. What's your question?
Well, my death question. It's the pre-mortem. So it's all ended. 1 year, your company's folded. It died. You're back looking for jobs. Why did it die?
Interesting.
Well, with Business Booster, it'll be because no businesses sign up. So I think there's a real call to action. If you want this for the Norfolk and Suffolk community, definitely make sure that you sign up your business. But if you are able to help out by just sending an email out to all the business owners to just literally just put businessbooster.app in the email, it will take people 2 minutes. And we just basically want this to be a community project where people spread the word. So unless each one of you out there are going to spread the word for us, you know, it will be dead in a year's time. So there's your answer, John. And I hope that people like it, believe in it, and think that it could be something useful, because we're really doing it for everyone. And what we really need for it to succeed is just everyone to get involved, and that's it. Like, there's nothing else we really need other than just involvement.
Okay, Glyn, what if you back to fishing full time?
Well, it'd be lovely in a way, but I think in reality, I think it'd probably be one of our biggest challenges, which is sales. It's a, you know, we've built an innovative solution, but what we're finding is actually going out and selling an innovative solution where people are quite set in their ways with either the way that they monitor water quality, or the fact that they maybe actually don't want that water quality to be tracked in real time. So sales is definitely going to be our key factor, and the ability to kind of pivot when needed to. We've already, you know, in our lifespan, we've kind of changed direction a number of different times, and that's kind of kept us going. So yeah, those two things really: staying agile and sales.
Cool. Rob, you're just starting out, but what's your biggest?
Yeah, gosh, yeah, starting out, I'm thinking about dying already. So I think our biggest challenge is going to be helping those that are probably not digitally literate become digitally literate, and I don't know whether that's something I can overcome. So, you know, as an example, you know, we've launched networking this week online. I'm teaching people how to use Zoom just to get them to come along. And so the whole idea of basically being able to collaborate online and brainstorm and solve challenges and issues and stuff sounds really nice. But if you've got someone who doesn't like tech or understand tech, or, you know, is living somewhere where their broadband doesn't work, then, you know, that could kill the whole concept off pretty quickly. So,
cool. Yeah.
You know, I think that will be our challenge, I think.
So, Andres or Catherine, how did it all end? Tell us about it.
I think the truth is there's a million ways to die in the West, right? it's if anybody has done more than one startup, there is literally a million things trying to kill you every day, even to this day. But I think, John, if there is a sort of a extinction event, i.e. that open banking goes away, then basically the carpet just disappears underneath of us. So and the truth is, you have 9 massive banks in the UK who feel pretty uncomfortable about it. I think the regulators and the UK government is still strong and holding their line, but you know, that's one of those cataclysmic events which nobody can control, but it will just wipe us out.
Cool. Well, that's a wrap, and the results are in now. Let's end the poll. Upside Savings have gained a lot of ground, a lot of vote share from Watr, but doesn't look like they've gained enough, I'm afraid. Yeah, so the CEO of Watr has won. Literally, that's like a godlike role. Cool, well done. Yeah, thank you all, everyone, for making the effort to come and pitch to us today. Really appreciate it. And, you know, if you know anyone, have any ideas, just ping me on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever. And great to get you pitch. And otherwise, enjoy your evening.
It was so nice to see everyone. I look forward to being able to see you all and eat pizza and get drunk with you all again sometime this year, hopefully.
Can't wait. Let's hope it's this year.
Love you all. Bye.
Thanks.